Here she is, the very first motorcycle from the Harley-Davidson and Hero tie-up, the Harley X440. It's their very first single cylinder in a long time. This one is oil-cooled 440cc long stroke motor, 2 valves, which pumps out 27 horses and 38 Nm of torque at just 4,000 RPM. The engine is OBD2 and E20 fuel compliant, and all this power is put to the ground via a 6-speed transmission and a chain drive. How does it ride? Let's go and find out. And the first impressions are good. What has stood out the most so far is the way this handles. I mean, we'll be getting to the corners very quickly now. And on the straight, as long as you keep it below 6,000 RPM, the vibes are well in check. 6th gear is undoubtedly the overdrive gear, but in the 5th gear, yeah, it still pulls you a nice spread of torque. But this is the best part. Look at this. How often can you see a Harley doing this, inspiring this much confidence? Yeah, I'm dragging my pegs, and it has had zero effect on the way this bike handles. It's insanely stable, very neutral handling, dips into corners very progressively. Not a whole lot to complain about. Also, the feedback from the front is pretty good, but we have to take that with a pinch of salt because the surface here is very good, very grippy. So we'll have to wait till we ride this on the road to understand the true balance that the suspension has. But on a good surface, yeah, this is a lot of fun to ride. But the one thing I think this can definitely do better is right at this point, when I get on the brakes, yeah, there is not as much stopping power as I would expect, especially on a 190 kg motorcycle. And also in terms of tractability. So now I'm in the 4th gear, I'm going to get on the gas. Yeah, you can hear from the sound, this thing goes. That's the whole essence of this motorcycle, right? Torque, a whole lot of torque everywhere. I mean, it has 90% of the torque available from just 2,000 RPM. 90% of its 38 Newton meters of torque. The top end is not as strong as you would expect, not as much torque up there, up top. The fueling so far is very good. I also like the gearbox so far. It's been very smooth, very precise, slots in very well. You have a 6-speed transmission, as I mentioned earlier. You can easily ride this thing, I think, in the city in the 4th gear without any problems. You also have, from a tactical standpoint, you have a nice commanding ergonomics. Yeah, you're sitting nice and upright, you have a commanding view of what's happening in front of you. The ergonomics seem pretty good for long hours in the saddle. Even the seat is well padded. So from a practical standpoint, from a touring standpoint, this checks all the right boxes. Although the tank is just 13.5 liters. So now that we are done riding the motorcycle, I'm back home, have had enough time to think about it. Here's the thing, I think they have done a really good job with the motorcycle in terms of the engine. It's really punchy. The long stroke motor means that you have a lot of torque low down, which is what you have always associated with Harley-Davidson. Yeah, the peak power is not that great, but it can easily do 120 kilometers in the sweet spot all day long in the saddle. There are very few vibrations at that point of time. Yes, if you continue pushing the bike over 6,000 RPM, that's when you can feel the vibes on the foot pegs and the handlebar. I was also really impressed with the handling, with the riding dynamics. It's very sure-footed, it's very planted. At the same time, it's quite quick on its feet. You don't really feel the weight, the 190 kg curve weight, which is great. Icing on the cake, of course, is the pricing. Yeah, starting at 2.29 lakhs is very, very competitive, considering that all the three variants come with dual channel ABS. They all come with Bluetooth connectivity, which is really, really remarkable. The only problem I have with this motorcycle is the badge. It's Harley-Davidson, and Harley-Davidson have always been motorcycles that you look at and you admire even from a distance. They are known for, the attention to detail, the amazing paint job. The styling is what really holds your attention even when the motorcycle is standing still. Yes, they have done a really good job with the exhaust note for a single cylinder, but where it lacks is, of course, all of these points. And I also understand why they have done whatever they have done, looking at that price point. But that's the thing, it looks like a motorcycle which has been built to a cost. Even though from a riding dynamics front, which I'm very happy, it rides like a really well set up motorcycle. It has the components, but it doesn't really have the appeal, the charisma of a Harley-Davidson, which has been resonating with the brand for all of these years. And that essence, I feel, is missing on these motorcycles. The craftsmanship, it doesn't feel like a motorcycle which I really want to have in my garage. It's a good motorcycle, it rides really well, it sounds well, but that's why it's very vanilla. It doesn't inspire, it doesn't evoke that want which you expect Harley-Davidson motorcycles to evoke. And I know this is an entry-level bike, but that's my point. You also have Triumph on the other side now, who are also going to be launching their entry-level Triumphs today. And they seem to have stuck true to their guns in terms of, even though it's an entry-level Triumph, it has to be a Triumph in terms of the craftsmanship, in terms of the attention to detail. And that's where I felt that Harley missed a beat. But I have been proven wrong in the past with BMW launching the rebadged RR310 and doing better than the TVS counterpart. So I'd be happy to be proven wrong. But for me personally, as good as this motorcycle is, it's not really a Harley.